Today we are going to talk about something that each of us has experienced: stress. Whether it's before a big exam, when we're facing a difficult life event, or even just juggling everyday responsibilities, stress is something we've all felt. And let's be real, it's not fun. But what if I told you that stress isn't just about feeling overwhelmed or having a bad day? It's actually a super complex process that affects both our mind and body in ways we might not even realize. So, what exactly is stress? Where does it come from? How does it affect our health, both mentally and physically? And most importantly, how can we learn to manage it so that it doesn't take over our lives? Stick around because we're about to take a scientific deep dive into everything you need to know about stress, the different types, its effects on our body and mind, and how to manage it effectively. What is stress and why does it happen? Let's start with the basics. What is stress? We hear the word thrown around all the time, but what does it really mean? Well, stress is the body's natural response to a perceived threat or challenge. It's your brain and body reacting to something that requires attention or action. The interesting part is that this response can be triggered by both physical and psychological stimuli. Imagine you're walking down the street, and out of nowhere, an aggressive dog starts barking and running toward you. In a split second, your brain goes into overdrive, triggering your body to prepare for one of two things: fight or flight. This is your stress response in action. When your brain detects a threat, like that barking dog, it sends signals to your body to release stress hormones, mainly adrenaline and cortisol. These hormones kick your body into gear, increasing your heart rate, sharpening your focus, and giving you a burst of energy to either face the threat or get the heck out of there. This process is known as acute stress, and believe it or not, it's actually a good thing in certain situations. Without it, our ancestors wouldn't have survived dangerous encounters with predators. But here's the kicker. While acute stress is helpful in short bursts, chronic stress, the kind that sticks around for days, weeks, or even longer, can wreak havoc on your body and mind. The origins of the fight or flight response. Now, a little history for you. The whole concept of the fight or flight response was first introduced by American physiologist Walter Cannon back in the 1920s. He was the one who noticed that when animals, including humans, are faced with danger, they experience a series of automatic changes in their body that prepare them to either fight the threat or run away from it. These physiological changes include an increased heart rate, faster breathing, and a surge of energy. Cannon's work laid the foundation for our understanding of how stress affects the body. Is all stress bad? Okay, so stress is a natural response, but is it always a bad thing? The short answer is no. In fact, there are two main types of stress: distress and eustress. Distress is what we usually think of when we hear the word stress. It's the negative kind of stress, the one that leaves us feeling anxious, overwhelmed, or even physically ill. Distress is triggered by events like losing a job, going through a breakup, or dealing with an illness. This kind of stress can be really harmful to our health, especially if it's prolonged. The longer we stay in a state of distress, the more it takes a toll on our body and mind. On the flip side, we have eustress. This is the positive kind of stress that motivates us to get things done and helps us rise to challenges. Think about the excitement and nervous energy you feel before a big presentation, a wedding, or starting a new job. That's eustress at work. It gives you that extra push to focus, perform, and adapt to new situations. So, while stress often gets a bad rap, eustress can actually be beneficial. It's like having a personal cheerleader in your brain urging you to keep going. Selye's stress theory, the 3 stages of stress. Now, let's talk about a big name in the world of stress research, Selye. In the 1950s, Selye was the one who really advanced our understanding of stress by developing the General Adaptation Syndrome, GAS. His theory explains how our body reacts to stress in 3 distinct stages. 1. Alarm reaction. This is the body's initial response to stress, the fight or flight stage we talked about earlier. When you first encounter a stressful situation, your body releases adrenaline and cortisol to prepare you for action. Your heart races, your focus sharpens, and your energy spikes. You're ready to either confront the problem or run from it. This stage is super helpful in the short term, but if your body stays in this state for too long, it starts to wear you down. 2. Resistance. After the initial shock of the stressful event, your body enters the resistance stage. In this stage, you start to adapt to the stress. It's that feeling of getting used to the problem or challenge. For example, if you're in a stressful job, you might start feeling more normal after a while, even though the stress is still there. But here's the catch. Your body can only resist stress for so long before it starts to run out of resources. 3. Exhaustion. This is the final stage, and it's where things can get dangerous. If the stress continues for too long and your body can no longer cope, you enter the exhaustion stage. This is when the long-term effects of stress really start to take a toll on your health. Chronic stress can lead to all sorts of serious issues, from heart disease to anxiety disorders, depression, and even autoimmune diseases. Your body essentially becomes worn out from constantly being in a state of high alert. Selye's work was groundbreaking because it showed that while stress is a natural response, our bodies aren't designed to handle it for long periods of time without consequences. How does stress affect our health? Okay, now that we know what stress is and how our bodies respond to it, let's dive into what happens when stress sticks around for too long. Unfortunately, chronic stress can affect pretty much every system in our body. 1. The cardiovascular system. One of the most well-documented effects of stress is its impact on the heart and blood vessels. When you're stressed, your body releases adrenaline, which increases your heart rate and raises your blood pressure. In the short term, this helps you react quickly to a threat. But over time, chronic stress can lead to hypertension, heart attacks, and other cardiovascular issues. The constant strain on your heart and blood vessels increases the risk of serious health problems. 2. The immune system. Stress has a direct impact on your immune system, which is your body's defense mechanism against illness. When you're under stress, your body produces cortisol, a hormone that can suppress immune function if it's present in high amounts for too long. This means that people who are constantly stressed are more vulnerable to getting sick. Chronic stress can lower your body's ability to fight off infections, making you more susceptible to illnesses like colds, flu, and even more serious infections. 3. The digestive system. Ever notice that when you're really stressed, your stomach starts to feel off? That's because stress affects the digestive system in multiple ways. High levels of stress can cause issues like indigestion, nausea, stomach pain, and even irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. Stress can also alter your appetite. Some people lose their appetite when stressed, while others might overeat as a way to cope with their emotions. 4. Mental health. Of course, stress doesn't just affect the body, it has a huge impact on our mental health too. Long-term stress is one of the leading causes of anxiety disorders and depression. When you're constantly stressed, your brain's resources get depleted, which affects everything from memory and concentration to emotional regulation. You might find yourself feeling irritable, overwhelmed, or emotionally drained. Over time, chronic stress can seriously impair your ability to function and enjoy life. 5. Hormonal imbalance. When we're under stress, our bodies produce more cortisol and adrenaline, which are essential for managing stress. However, when these hormones are constantly being released due to chronic stress, it can mess with our body's normal hormonal balance. This can affect everything from our sex hormones like estrogen and testosterone to insulin levels, which regulate blood sugar. Over time, this can lead to issues like weight gain, fatigue, and even diabetes. How to manage stress. Okay, now that we know what stress is and how it can affect us, let's get to the part everyone's waiting for: how to manage it. The good news is that there are tons of effective strategies for dealing with stress. Let's take a look at some of the best ones. 1. Physical activity. One of the most effective ways to reduce stress is through exercise. When you engage in physical activity, your body produces endorphins, which are often called the happiness hormones. Endorphins act as natural painkillers and mood elevators, making you feel better both mentally and physically. Whether it's going for a run, doing yoga, or even just taking a brisk walk, exercise helps reduce stress levels and improves your overall well-being. 2. Meditation and breathing practices. If you've never tried meditation, now might be the time to start. Studies show that regular meditation can lower cortisol levels in the blood, which helps reduce stress. Meditation allows you to focus your mind, calm your thoughts, and become more aware of your body and emotions. It's a fantastic way to build resilience against stress and cultivate a sense of peace. Deep breathing exercises can also help you manage stress in the moment. When you're stressed, your breathing tends to become shallow and rapid. But by focusing on taking slow, deep breaths, you can activate your body's relaxation response and calm your nervous system almost instantly. 3. Social connections. It's easy to feel isolated when you're under a lot of stress, but one of the best things you can do is reach out to others. Social connections are incredibly important for mental health. Whether it's talking to a friend, spending time with family, or joining a support group, having a strong social network helps reduce feelings of loneliness and isolation, which are often linked to stress. Sometimes, just talking about what's stressing you out can make a world of difference. 4. Balanced diet. The food we eat has a direct impact on how we feel, both physically and mentally. A diet that's rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals supports the nervous system and helps the body handle stress better. Foods high in omega-3 fatty acids like flax seeds and walnuts, magnesium like spinach and almonds, and vitamin C like oranges and strawberries are known to reduce stress. On the flip side, try to avoid excessive consumption of sugar, caffeine, and alcohol, which can make stress worse by causing spikes and crashes in energy levels. 5. Sleep. Finally, let's talk about sleep. It's no secret that sleep is essential for both physical and mental health, but it's also one of the first things to suffer when we're stressed. Unfortunately, lack of sleep only makes stress worse, creating a vicious cycle. To break this cycle, it's important to prioritize getting enough quality sleep every night. Here are some tips for improving sleep. Create a relaxing bedtime routine, like reading or taking a warm bath, to signal to your body that it's time to wind down. Avoid screens like phones or laptops at least an hour before bed, as the blue light can interfere with your body's natural sleep cycle. Stick to a consistent sleep schedule, even on weekends, to help regulate your body's internal clock. Conclusion. And there you have it, stress, in all its complexity. It's something we all deal with, but the more we understand how stress works and how it affects us, the better equipped we are to handle it. Remember, while we can't eliminate stress completely, we can learn how to manage it so that it doesn't take a toll on our health and well-being. The key is finding what works for you, whether it's physical activity, meditation, social connections, or making small lifestyle changes. Stress is an inevitable part of life, but with the right tools and mindset, we can prevent it from overwhelming us. Thanks for sticking around till the end of this video. If you found this helpful, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more content about psychology. And leave a comment down below sharing how you deal with stress. I'd love to hear your tips. Learn to stay calm during the storm, then you will master the most powerful weapon against stress.